What's good, YouTube? Metasnake88 here. I'm going to be bringing you a Dark World deck profile. As we all know, the Dark World structure dropped earlier this month. Just be doing a little profile on it. It's one of my favorite decks from back in like 2011 when the deck was really, really good. And of course, we got a little more adversity now. We got D Fisher back at 3, Macro back at 3, but I really don't think it'll be that much of a hindrance of playing the deck. I mean, most people are gonna main deck 3 to D Fisher going first, if that at all. Aside, maybe 3 Macro going second if they have it in the side. But overall, we have ways to counter that. And we also have to kind of fear the tier matchup a little bit. But this build does not necessarily fear the tier matchup in the aspect of we're not playing any cards that allow them to discard any cards from the hand. So, like I said, I'll be getting into the profile. Let's start off with the danger package. We have 1 Jackalope, 1 Tsuchinoko, 1 Chupacabra. These are your one-ofs that I use in the package. Chupacabra's pretty nice in the deck because it's a fiend. It has real good synergy with Gates as far as, you know, bringing one of your big dangers back. Playing 2 Thunderbird and playing 2 Bigfoot. It's a pretty much a rank 8 focused deck. So you want to be able to use these to get out, to extend out, draw extra cards. And Bigfoot's particularly pretty useful being discarded. Thunderbird is more situational because it only pops sets. Bigfoot's pops face-ups. In an emergency, it can be used to get rid of D Fisher, you know, if you get a little lucky. So that's always pretty good. We round out the danger package with 3 Nessie. Nessie's arguably the best one. I like the ones, I don't honestly like using Bigfoot and Thunderbird going first too much because you can get unlucky and get sniped and you go neg 1. Nessie, of course, we all know always replaces itself. Suchi, Jackalope, always replace himself. Chupacabra is pretty situational, but overall it's pretty good for this deck too. So that's my danger package. I chose not to run Mothman just because I don't want to be put in a situation where I'm forced to trigger this effect to keep playing against tier. Again, you're not always going to play tier, but I just built this build to maximize on using my own cards and not allowing my opponent to giving my opponent the least amount of interactions against me in the case of playing against tier, if that makes sense. So we move on to the Dark World package. We're playing 3 Rainbow. Rainbow is the new searcher of the deck. When it's pitched, it allows you to add a level 5 or higher, which is essentially Silver Grapha in this build, but it can get you Lucent, Latinum, things like that if you choose to run it. But in this particular build, we're only grabbing Silver and Grapha. Playing 3 Grapha. And I'm playing 3 of these big guys. Typically, I would only play 2 Grapha, 3 Rainbow. But I'm playing 3 of the big guys to account for Bestials being in the format. I know a lot of people are still shying away from Bestials nowadays. The YCS winner over in Costa Rica chose not to play the Bestial package at all, but I still think it'll be around. So to account for that, I just played 3 of each big guy just in case. Like I say, these really aren't that bad to draw as well. So I'm running 3 of those. 3 Genta. This is the field spell searching. Considering cutting this to 2, but it's been okay at 3 so far. Basically, you pitch it to grab the field spell. It's not once per turn. If this is banished while you control a Dark World card, you can special summon it. That includes off of Allure of Darkness if you choose to run it. Also synergizes with Gatewell. Helps you get to rank 4 plays really early. And is also just a mini combo with, say you open this and Rainbow, pitch this, get the field spell, pitch Rainbow, banish this. This comes back and you get to search off Rainbow and you get to bounce this back. So just little things like that. It could go to 2. I hadn't decided, but it's been fine at 3 so far. 3 Snow. Snow is the searcher of the deck. She's discarded by card effect. You get to grab anything. You grab whatever you need off of this. And we're running 2 Silver and 2 Brow. And we're also choosing to play the Ceruli package. So we're playing 2 Ceruli. Cerulli is when it's pitched off of by a card effect, you special summon it to your opponent's side of the field. And then his other effect triggers, if he's special summoned by the effect of a Dark World card, your opponent must discard one card. So basically, he'll go to your grave, you go to your opponent, and then it's activated as the effect of your opponent. And you get to trigger your Dark World secondary effects. So Silver will allow you to have them shuffle exactly 2 cards from their hand back to their deck. Rainbow, it allows you to special summon a level 4 Fiend from your deck to either side of the field. So yes, Cerulli is pretty nuts. So this build, basically, I can loop your whole hand in one turn, pretty much. I can resolve 2 Cerulli, pitch Silver twice, and basically left on 1 card. And you'll be the opponent will be at 1 card drawn if the loop goes right. But if not, the board that's put up is still pretty good. So I'll get to that later. And we're playing 1 Beige as the last Dark World card. I consider not playing Beige, just playing Silver. But Beige being special summon off of being discarded, it really helps with rank 4 plays. Sometimes you need him to get into your rank 4s, your Baguskas, your Abyss Dwellers, your Dugarisses. So I chose to play it. Like I say, it's still a build in progress, so everything's not set in stone yet, but that's what I chose to do. And the last 3 monsters, playing 2 Salamander Catalyzers. So Salamander is really good. So you can reveal this and a Fiend in your hand, pitch 1 and special the other. So this facilitates rank 4 plays all on its own. Or it can trigger your Snow. It can trigger all your Dark World effects. It triggers all of the effects. So it's really good. It's a very good extender. It helps you get your engine started if you need it to. It's a very, very, very good card. I think all Dark World builds should be playing this. And I'm playing 1 Zephyros to bounce back the field spell, or bounce back a danger, or bounce back anything that you need to bounce back. It's really good. And onto the spells. 3 field spell. That's self-explanatory. 2 fusion spell. This card is pretty nuts. So it allows you to pitch any 2. You have to have Grapha for the fusion, of course. You can pitch, if you're fusion summoning a Fiend type monster, you can pitch cards from your hand to commence the fusion summoning. So you're able to pitch Grapha and another card, bring out Overlord Grapha from your extra deck, and trigger their effects. And this is a quick play spell, so you can also use it on your opponent's turn. So this is actually a really good way. It's very situational, but you can out D-Fisher with this card. If you happen to open up Grapha and Bigfoot, or if you or if you activate this in response to them activating D-Fisher, if it's like an emergency situation, you can pitch Grapha and another card, and then on a new chain, Grapha will already be in the graveyard, so it'll still activate and be able to pop the D-Fisher. So yeah, this thing's pretty good. It also allows you to recur from the graveyard by pitching a Dark World monster from your hand. So it also gives you another discard outlet after you fusion summon. So yeah, it's pretty good. I was running it at 1 and testing like on DB and stuff before the cards actually came out, but I think 2 is better because people still do play Crow, and you do want to have access to it. Even if you can't fusion summon, it's still a good way to, it's a good card to pitch, and it's also a good card to use for a discard outlet. So yeah, I'm running it 2. And the last 3 are just one-ofs. Dark World Archives or Dark World Library. Basically, this is a pot of greed for the deck. Anytime you pitch a card for a Dark World effect, or if a card is discarded from your hand, it doesn't have to be by a Dark World effect, you can discard another card in your hand and draw 2 cards. It's pretty nutty. So yeah, it's a lot of mini combos you can do with that. I played 1 charge into a Dark World to recur my level 4s. Salamander, Snow, Genta if I need to. Special summon, it allows you to special summon a level 4 lower Fiend from your grave, and then pitch a Fiend type monster from your hand. So yeah, it's pretty good. You can put Snow back in your hand and reuse Snow's effect to search whatever you need, things like that. You can facilitate rank 4 plays. So yeah, I decided to play it as 1. It may be cut in the future, but it's been okay pretty for, you know, the testing I've been doing. And the last main deck card is Triple Tactics Talent. So basically, this is just a one-of, but it combos well with Cerulli. It combos well with you being interrupted on your turn. But if you use Cerulli's effect and it resolves and it goes to your opponent's side of the field and it activates this effect, you can activate Tactics Talent because it is your opponent activating that effect. So yeah, you can use that to loop the last card out of their hand if you successfully use the silver loop to get 2 cards, because you can only send 2 cards back with silver. This allows you to get the last card and put them on 1 card to draw while dealing with the board that you'll put up. Or you can use it to extend out to draw 2 cards, or if they got a troublesome monster you just can't out, mid-game or whatever, you can just steal it. So yeah, it's just a one of, but if I don't think it's worth it to play more than one, but it's got pretty good synergy with the deck. So that's it for the main deck, 40 card main deck. And move on to the extra. All right, the extra deck. Starting out, we got 2 Grapha Dragon Overlord of Dark World. So basically, this card says whenever your opponent activates a normal spell, trap, or a monster effect, you change that effect to your opponent discards 1 card. So basically, you change the effect of the card that they're using into an effect that makes you discard a card. So this effect will trigger your Dark World secondary effects, and it will also trigger any other cards that you play that activated when they're discarded, such as, of course, your dangers and things like that. So a lot of people choose to play Necromante King with this because as soon as your opponent activates anything, you use a fusion lower effect and pitch Necromante King and their turn in. So it's pretty powerful effect, I believe. It allows you to trigger your Dark World secondary effects like silver. You can make them put 2 more cards back if they choose to activate anything. You can draw 2 cards with Brow. You can pop a card and see a card out of the hand with Grapha. So it's got its uses. I mean, it's just another negate. So, and then it's also 3,200 attack, which is also a bonus. Second effect is if it leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Grapha Dragon Lord of a Dark World from your graveyard or your banished pile. So and then each player discards 1 card. So it does recur itself. It does replace itself, and it also allows you to trigger another Dark World effect or anything in your hand after it leaves. So yeah, it's pretty good. Moving on to our links, we play 1 IP. We play 1 Muckracker, 1 Akashic Magician. This card is super nuts, especially if you get your dangers and things going. Because when this is link summon, you return every card that it points to back to this opponent's hand. So if you give them a Ceruli and you special summon your silver to this zone, you can link this. If you have 2 monsters with the same type anywhere else, you can link it to where it points to both of those and you get both of them back. So it's pretty good. And it's also just good for recycling your dangers and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty good card. We got 1 Nightmare Unicorn. We got 1 Appaloosa and 1 Sayuja Skull Dread. Moving on to our Xyz. We got 1 Baguska. You gotta be able to play under D-Shifter, D-Fisher, things like that. This can stall you until you get to your side cards, things like that to help you play the game. 1 Hope Harbinger. You can make this. This is part of your standard going first board. It's pretty good. Photon, Galaxy Eyes, Lord. I like this card, but I'm thinking about cutting it due to the amount of monster negation you put up turn 1. It might not be necessary. I hadn't decided if I want to cut it. If I did cut it, it would probably be for Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. I think that adds a little more utility than this, but we'll see. For now, it's still in the deck. It's not a bad card by any means, but I just think I could possibly use the space for something that'd be a little better. But yeah, it's in for now. We are playing Zeus along with Dweller. You have to be able to Dweller Zeus tier. And this also is really good against other matchups as well. So there's nothing wrong with being able to put out a Dweller and then dwell on your opponent going Zeus. There's nothing wrong with switching Bagusa to attack and making Zeus. So it's just another option. It too might get cut eventually, but it's in there for now. And the last card is Dugras the Timeless. It's just another extender for the deck. Draw 2, pitch 1, and the pitch does trigger Dark World effects. So yeah, these 2 here are especially great because you can make them after Muckraker locks you into Fiends for the rest of the turn. So yeah, they have real good synergy as well as the Unicorn as well. So that's it for the extra deck. We'll be back with the side deck. All right, getting into the side deck. So instead of just showing a full 15-card side deck, I figured I'd just show some options of things that you could side, especially going second. Gamma's pretty good. It's good to stop shifter. It's good to stop. Just sometimes you can just stop one monster effect, and sometimes your opponent just in. Also, a lot of your cards, obviously 90% of the cards, activate in the graveyard. So Gamma can also be used in response to activating your gates, or pitching your discarding your Dark World monsters, things like that. You can also be in response to stopping negation, or stopping a bestial, or stopping a crow, removing your Grapha, things like that from the grave, things like that. So Gamma's a pretty good choice. You also have Lightning Storm for going second, clearing back row, clearing if your opponent plays bad and leaves all things in attack position, it's good for clearing those as well. Feather Duster, again, same thing. Spell and trap removal, twin, cosmic, same thing. Skill Drain, of course, is always an option in Dark World. It can definitely be played as an old school beatdown deck, and it's hard for any other deck to play through this. So many decks can't play through Skill Drain. It's a good option to have in the side. It's not a bad option to have in the main if you have space. I just choose not to play it in the main at the moment. So yeah, that's also another option. You always have your viruses, your deck Devi, and your EEV. So definitely when you point out you have a deck that's overly dependent on spell or traps, always good to remove those for you. And it also gives you hand knowledge of what your opponent has in their hand, so you know how to better play and what to counter. So there it is on that. Evenly, also another good card for going second. Your opponent is playing like a deck or something that doesn't really put out spell and trap negates. It's easy to clear that field, and you don't have to go into the battle phase on your first turn. Honestly, if you resolve it evenly, you're going to put up a board that I'm 99.9% sure your opponent can't break. So these are just some good options here. Of course, there's other options out there, but I just wanted to keep this segment kind of short because, obviously a side deck is more tailored to what you think you're going to see and what's going on at your local. So these are just some things to get you started. Like I say, these are some options I consider for myself. So feel free to use these. Honestly, if you have any more in the comments, please share those with me. But yeah, this has been my Dark World profile. Guys, make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Please give me comment, feedback, what I can improve or what you'd like to see. Like I say, no, I hadn't been posting videos lately. Life kind of got a little busy there, but at least for the next couple of weeks, I should be trying to post at least one video a week. I'm gonna try to honor that commitment as best as I can, but I appreciate you guys tuning in to these videos. Just shout outs to people at Pentasmite Gaming. Shout out to all the locals there. Shout out to Devin for trading me this mat. I couldn't attend the Structure Deck event to have a chance to win it, and I appreciate him for trading it to me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you.